What is up, guys? What is up? What is up? Late night stream over here on Twitch. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna be streaming some high stakes PLO. 2,000 hands so far off stream. Now we're gonna continue with some 510 on stream. Holding a pretty strong streak right now. We are winning $15,382 ahead of time in the stream. Defending the big blind with the King Jack 10-6 as we flop the straight on Queen 9-8. Very dynamic board. Pretty good board for the button. And against the half pot size bet, I will just call and check out some turns. We like the 7 of hearts, of course. And I will call again. Very nice river card. My opponent at this point is going to have the same hand, or he's going to show up with blockers. So like shoving doesn't have that much value, but we're still going to do it, of course. And we could also call and see his whole cards. Probably was holding some blockers, basically. But by calling, we got him to barrel twice again. Some significant money went into the middle. So that was pretty sweet. Tsukami opens the button. And we 3-bet from the big blind. And I'm going to be checking the flop with a gutter, flush draw, backdoor flush draw. So sort of a combo hand. In the meantime, on the other table, 3-betting King King, Queen 6. And flopping a straight. On the Jack 10-9 board, I will check the flop. And I will also check the turn. On the other table, we fold on the turn. So here I will just check flop and turn because the runouts are quite significantly against my hand, so to speak. Like, it will be very difficult for me to value bet the river when I see bet the flop or even the turn. There are going to be a lot of transitions essentially. All right, so flop goes check, check. He bets the turn and bets the river. Not the greatest spot to hero. But I think it is a call. I mean, I wish I would be blocking some of the boats, but he didn't stab the flop. There's a chance he is... and we don't have any of the flush draws as well, so we're going to be calling here. Like, some of the 2-pair hands on the flop will be taking a stab, essentially. Very nice hand here to open raise. And funny enough, over on this table, the button limps, and we raise it up to 20 because I misclicked. And now Tsukami comes over the top to 70. Button calls. We can make it 280 with the aces. Pretty good start. But we still need to flop good. Well, it's kind of in between there. Bottom 2 pair, no backup. Pretty tricky hand to play. But I think the SPR is too shallow to consider not jamming. I could imagine, though, that checking and then folding versus 2 jams could also be fine. And he got us on the river, unfortunately. How long would it take your installation to solve the ace-ace-9 flop? 3-way. So at SPR, I would say, I mean, at the moment, I'm still running with my normal computers at home. I'm still waiting for the new computer that I ordered. With my new computer, I would say it would probably take... It's really hard to tell, but the specific spot, maybe something like an hour, but it could also be way less. Because it's SPR1, but at the same time, it's 3-handed. Depends a little bit like what kind of bet sizings you allow on each party. Flopping quads here on 3-3-3, blind on blind. Just call the flop bet. And we will be just calling. I could, of course, raise, but it doesn't really do that much for my range. I will have a lot of bluff catchers in this spot, and I do also need to bring in some of my better hands. So he goes 3 streets relatively large, and I think on the river, I want to go for a small raise, not a big raise. And I'm going to go ahead and raise this sizing. Let's see what happens. He ends up folding. Over in this table, we face a squeeze from the big blind, and I'm going to be 4-betting the 9-8-6-5. This is a hand that Plays pretty bad if I call and these other two players also come along. And my opponent who squeezed can also have a hand that he's actually going to be folding versus the re-raise. And if he gets it in with aces, you know, it's not the worst thing at all. We can still hit a diamond and hold, baby. That's how we do it. Good enough. Good enough, boys. That's how you play PLO. You just 4-bet random hands and just win at showdown, you know. Easy. Calling a 3-bet here against Tsukami and flopping 2-pair gutter backdoor flush draw. We're going to be stabbing flop stacking off. He will be check raising a lot of flush draws with over pairs. We're going to be flipping against those hands, but at the same time, he will be check calling some worse. When he check raises the flop, snap check raising. So snap check raising me. Gonna have a lot of diamonds, so we're gonna try to fade the diamond on the turn. And that is a beautiful fade. I think so, at least, unless he has 8-9. We should be good. He bets small. This is very confusing. I'm not sure. Trying to buy a cheap diamond. Maybe he has 8-9 of diamonds. If so, we need a heart. So we do jam. He has 7-6 with not diamonds. $3,392. To my name, he had a pretty strong hand on the flop there, man. So he was holding top 2 pair and the nut flush draw. And we turned a beautiful 5 of hearts, so that was pretty epic. Over here, pretty interesting situation. We called the flop bet. And turn goes check through, river is straight, but it isn't the nut straight. And this guy now suddenly bets large. That's not a great spot to be in, like he's representing Jack 10, but he can also have jacks in this kind of situation. Yeah, it's not a great spot, but there is actually a chance we can scoop this against jacks. Or it just has aces. I mean, aces are also in some world, it's a blocker. And on this table, we get called by Brad Net so far. Autopilot under the gun folded. And the flop is relatively safe. We are 3-handed, but the stacks are very shallow. We also do have a jack. I'm going to go for a small bet on the flop of 157. Not planning to fold. We get called. Yeah, now we're turning a flush draw on top. There's no way we can fold this hand. The only question is check call or jam. And I think we would just want to jam. We'll run into a 6 relatively frequently, but half pot size bet, flush draw over pair jack X. You can have hands like kings, for example, with hearts. Might also call. Does have queens, no hearts. Also a possibility to stack off right there. Well, it was a paired board, and we check call twice. I could easily imagine that the river lead frequency are going to be very, very small. But from an exploitative perspective, I can understand why maybe betting smaller could make sense. This is an interesting spot. This, I think, is an unknown player here, so we're just going to rip it in. I mean, he could have a set, but he can also have a combo draw that we completely destroy. Top 2 pair and up flush draw. And we're going to rip it in. Looks like he's in the tank now. You could also have queen jack without a draw, or without such a big draw like we do have right here. Can't imagine check raises big and then folds, but maybe he's not sure. Okay. He does have the same hand, but not anymore on the turn. 2K to my name. Welcome to the redraw world of JNandez. So that's really what I'm interested in, is like, how can I build the perfect software for me that I will then share with other people, of course, as a business. But also I'm looking forward to work with better tools so I can improve my own game faster and better. And I think that's the best way to approach this, essentially. I don't really like to, or I don't really spend much time looking left and right, essentially. Part of the turn, and that is a beautiful river against Pookie Goat. Pookie Goat, we got you. Pot. Just call it, bro. He does call, and he ends up having ace, an ace with a flush. And also it's great that we have a team, not only of developers, but also of team members at JNandez Poker that are also excited about software and excited about getting out some sims, making people aware of the value of understanding GTO, understanding solutions, etc. It's just incredible. Like there's no way, not even the slightest way, that I would be on the level of PLO understanding today without solvers. It's just such a massive tool. And I think it naturally, you know, players who have more of a knack for games in general. So people who have like more natural poker talent, I think it's actually a pretty big disadvantage that solvers are actually on the market, because it used to be that the best players in the game are the players who intuitively understand games the best, but that actually has changed. It is now more so people who are willing to put in the work in solvers, and people who are interested and have a talent for understanding solver outputs more so than games in general. And I'm not a very good, I don't really have a great talent for understanding games. I don't have a lot of talent for just poker in general, like not disproportionately at least. So I'm very happy that softwares are now available that actually help me to get to this understanding and this level. Without it, it would have been very difficult. Like what I used to do back in the days pre-solvers, so pre-no limit hold'em solvers, what I would do is I would just check how other top players or top players in general would be playing the game. I would be like railing Ben86 and Sauce, how they play PLO and what kind of hints they show up with, what sizings they would be using in certain spots. And I would be learning this way. And then solvers got introduced in No Limit Hold'em, and I would start working with solvers in No Limit Hold'em to understand the mechanics of poker in general through that. And I was here I'm gonna check raise a turn, and I was basically trying to understand how certain concepts in No Limit Hold'em would make sense in PLO. And I would be doing this for actually like 1 or 2 years essentially, and then eventually the PLO solver released. And at that point I was already really well informed and educated on how to use solvers and the usefulness of it as well in general. Over here we are drawing to the nuts against the turn pot size bet. Easy call, of course. We have a pair, a gutter, a flush draw, or the nut flush draw I should say. And that is the nuts on the river. Just making sure it is the nuts. Pretty nice, because the king of clubs is not in my hands, the queen of clubs is not in my hands. So my opponent can definitely have a high flush himself. He definitely has a flush. I would think so, at least. I mean, you could have king queen with a king of clubs and think about hero calling as well. But I think he has a flush. Did he call or fold? I think he called, right? He ended up folding, unfortunately. And over in this table I call a 3-bet on the button versus the small blind. We're very deep on the flop, so I'm not a huge fan of raising. Yeah, but I'm gonna raise actually, because I don't think my opponent is gonna go out of line too much there, and I avoid difficult turns from rivers while at the same time extracting value from flush draws and ace-x. That was a very quick way to formulate the reasons for it, basically. I don't recognize the avatar. What is it? Ooh, that's a bad sign. Our friend 3-bets us and we flop trips and a flush draw. That's the way we're gonna stack him, guys. But the question now is, how do we get it all? I think we gotta click it on the flop. We gotta do some crazy stuff and give him some room. Like, here's a very wide, I mean, it's tricky. No, we're just gonna call. No, it's hard. It's hard to say. Okay, we click at these snaps. Okay, so I min raised the flop, if you don't know what clicking means. And we're gonna barrel the turn. I think I'm gonna barrel the turn relatively large because he called the flop fast. Probably has something decent. Calls again. River's a 5. Okay, so there are some straights out there. I don't really think he has a straight though. We are also blocking the straights. We don't beat a better 4, but he has a lot of overpairs, and I think I guess we just jam. If he has a beat, I mean, if he has a speed, he has a speed, I think. But against this player, I think we gotta go for all of it. It's gonna nit roll us with a straight. Let's see. Bam! That's the way you click them. 3.7k. Meantime, you flop a casual set. Rip it. I think we're good. Feels like we're good. I'm gonna bet $184. Okay. Just don't disappoint the stream and fold. Don't disappoint the stream. Don't disrespect the stream. I'm all in. There we go. Pocket sixers. That's it. That's it. That's it. Brutz, brutz, brutz. Hello. That's a decent flop. Ladies and gentlemen. Decent flop. Over here, we're also playing a 3-bet pot. I 3-bet a short stack with min raised in middle position, flopping the straight. We get it in against, unfortunately, the flush draw. And my opponent is good by the river. Here, we're still waiting for the response of our opponent. He 3-bet the big blind versus my cutoff raise. He pots. Okay. When he pots, I don't think he's going to fold versus a jam, so I can just snap jam basically and make quads because that's the way we roll. And there we go. 2.5k. On this table, I flatted in position. We flop we flop a set, but we also are blocking our own outs. We're still happy with the hand, of course. Great answer, boss. I love it. I'm not sure which one you're referring to because it was already 3 minutes ago and my memory apparently is not that great at this time of the day. I appreciate it though. And I would pot on the turn. Unibomber says, I understand that $100 is a big investment for some people, but the value of the mastermind is 100 times whatever investment you would make. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. Well, first of all, I appreciate that. But also, you know, the value behind poker education is different for everyone. It's kind of a scary sizing, but we're obviously going to call. And we win. Here we flop a set and a gutter. I'm just going to call a bet. I think it's pretty unlikely my opponent has a stack off hand, so let's give him some room. Okay, I think now he does have a stack off hand. So we jam and he has a flush. He even had 3 to a flush. Well, he had a double gut shot and a flush draw, so fair enough. We gave him some room. Lol. Looks like boy wants to squeeze. And we're gonna call. Flopping a wrap. No flush draw, no backdoor flush draw. He pots. And we will have to call. And see some turns. So the turn is neutral. And I think we got to stack off. It's kind of a sad spot, but I think we do have to stack off. We have all the clean outs to the nut straight. I mean, he has a half pot size bet. We need 25% equity. Yeah. Yep. Session today is over. This was actually after midnight. So in the last 12 hours, what did we book? $25,863 in 3,439 hands. Okay, we just started the 100k challenge. We're starting with a plus of $25,000, guys. That's how we do it. We're not going to do that. I'm not gonna put myself to this short-term pressure, as we already discussed. But anyway, pretty cool day. Winning 25k at 510 and 1025. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the hands. Not all the hands were streamed. And if you guys want to be informed when I go live, follow me on Instagram or join our Discord where I put out the announcements. And that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. JNandez over and out. Take care.